What's up, y'all, and welcome back to my channel. In this video, I'm going to show you how to play Nancy in the Texas Chainsaw Massacre game. I know a good majority of my viewers are already experienced and don't need this tutorial, so this video is more for the newer players who may have just gotten the game and may need some useful tips on how to play. But y'all are welcome to watch and leave some useful tips of your own down in the comments if you'd like to. Now let's get into the video. So Nancy is considered to be the worst family member according to a lot of people, however, I don't think so. I think she's a great character with a great ability and she feels very rewarding if you play her right. On December 12th of 2024, her traps did receive buffs. Her trap removal time went from 5 seconds to 3.5 seconds. And then her trap placement time went from 10 seconds to 7 seconds. And also back then, other family members were able to break Nancy's traps. So if you place them at a doorway or at a gap and Hitchhiker or Bubba ran through them, you would constantly have to come and reset your traps every single time. But now that's not a thing anymore, so you're able to place your traps freely wherever you like. So Nancy has a spy ability, so she's able to see through the eyes of one of the victims, revealing an approximate location. So if you go to her spy ability tree, at level 1 she has increased spy duration, which says increases the amount of time your spy ability is active by 40%, does not stack. And then at level 2, it goes up to 55%. And again, these two do not stack, so you cannot equip these two and expect the percentage to go up. And then in the middle of her ability tree, she's got level 1 quicker recharge rate, which says increases the rate your ability bar recharges by 20%, does not stack. And then at level 2, it goes up to 40%. Again, these two do not stack. And then on the right side, she's got level 1 reduce ability cooldown, reduces recharge time between ability uses by 3 seconds. And then it goes up to 6 seconds. And then her level 3 abilities are up here. She's got level 3 clear vision. While using your spy ability, the vision is much clearer. And then spy furthest victim and spy closest victim. I don't use these two whatsoever. I'm going to be honest. I prefer to have clear vision so I can see the victim more clear and I can get a better idea of where they might be hiding. And if you're starting out with Nancy, you could use level 1 increased spy duration just so you can have a little bit more time to analyze the picture to see where a victim's hiding, because you will have blurry vision if you don't have clear vision, and I'm going to show you what that looks like.
This ought to stop them. Now where did you go?
And now I'm going to show you what level 3 clear vision looks like.
This ought to stop them. They come looking at my Johnny that way. He's a sweet boy.
Also, after you spy on a victim, if you go to Sissy's poison powder station and pick up 1 powder, it's going to speed up your recharge rate for about 20 to 25 seconds, and you'll get your ability back a lot sooner.
I love you to no end, but don't think for a second I've gone and forgot what you did all those years ago.
It didn't have to be this way, you know? You just had to come looking for that floozy of yours, didn't you?
However, if you have a Sissy in your game, don't abuse it too much because she's also going to need her powder, so just use it if you really need to. Okay, so the path that I always use on Nancy will always be level 1 reduce ability cooldown, reduces recharge time between ability uses by 3 seconds, and then level 2 quicker recharge rate, increases the rate your ability bar recharges by 40%, does not stack, and then level 3 clear vision. While using your spy ability, the vision is much clearer. And now for her skill tree. I think the middle and the left side are the best paths to take for her. You can choose whichever path you want and you can choose whichever perks work best for you, but in my case, my favorite build on Nancy is always going to be level 3 pins and needles. Placing a strand of barbed wire has a 25% chance to not consume an inventory item. So when this perk activates, sometimes you'll have like a total of 8 traps in a single match. And then I like to use Poison Claws level 3. Attacks have a slight poison effect for 8 seconds. And then I'll use Unrelenting level 3. Your endurance is increased by 7 since Nancy's endurance is pretty crap. So yeah, pins and needles, Poison Claws, and Unrelenting is always going to be my go-to build on Nancy. And another great build on her, if you go on the right side of the skill tree in the beginning instead, you can get Universal Donor along with Scout and Feral. So Scout is going to make her run a lot faster, and then Feral is going to increase her savagery, and then Universal Donor is going to help her collect more blood from buckets to level up Grandpa faster. So just always read what each perk does and see if it benefits your playstyle and just go from there. Okay, so now I'm going to be showing some trap placements on what I think are Nancy's best maps, or at least the ones that I like to play her on. Okay, so the first map is Family House. So usually, if I'm playing Nancy on Family House, and if victims are rushing, I will always come to this red room here, and I trap up the entire section. So I'll put a trap here on this gap, and then I'll put another trap over here. And the reason why I do this is because there is a basement door right here on my left side, and a lot of victims, like if they're a squad or something, they like to rush through this basement door and run up here, right? And then like say Anna's coming this way and she runs straight down and then jumps out that window right there, or somebody will try to run upstairs while another family member tries to go outside or whatever. So this area is just only if they're rushing. I will come straight over here and I will just trap up this entire area. And notice how when I put down my second trap, I did save one and I just saved another one. So I have 3 traps down and I have 2. So that means I am free to place these other 2 traps somewhere else. So I can always come over here and put another one here at the den. A lot of Nancy players do trap this doorway, and you can, but I'll trap it if they're not rushing. But if I feel like they're rushing and I feel like they're just gonna, you know, play crazy, then that's when I'll just come and trap up this whole red room and just prevent them from, you know, coming up that way. And also, if you latch these doors, like let's latch, okay, which door can I latch over here actually? Let's just go ahead and latch this door just so I can demonstrate. You obviously cannot put traps here at the doors if there's still a door attached to it. You can go all the way around, and also notice how I'm running through my traps and they don't break anymore. So that was the buff that I was talking about that Nancy got. So you can barge these doors, or Leatherface will sometimes break these doors down, which is honestly perfect. Once you break this door down, you can put a trap right here. As long as the door is barged, you're always able to put a trap. If the door is still like not broken and it says open, close, whatever, then you cannot put a trap there. So this actually might be a good trap because sometimes victims will like run up from this ladder and then they try to like come this way, whatever. So yeah, but if you don't have pins and needles, obviously you cannot pull this off. You're only going to have 3 traps to work with. So you can either do this, or you can take this trap off. This is only if you don't have pins and needles, or like if pins and needles does not activate. So you can leave that gap trap, this trap, and then take this third one, and then you can put it over here. Well, I don't need to because I already put a trap. That's only if you have 3. And the reason is because this door is going to be latched. So let's say the victims, if they're rushing up this way, they do come up here. They can't go through this gap. They can't go through this hallway. And they're going to be pretty much trapped in this area because this door is latched. Unless they try to unlatch it. But by then, you're already going to be hitting them off of the door. You know what I mean? So yeah. And if a victim does go upstairs, let's say you don't have a hitchhiker to block off the stairs or whatever. If you have like a spare trap or something and the fuse box, let's see, where's the fuse? Okay, it's in hitchhiker's room. But let's say it spawns here, which sometimes it does. You can latch this door and then you can place a trap here at this crawl space. So if a victim's on the other side of this crawl space, obviously they can disable it with a bone scrap. But sometimes if they're running up the stairs over here and they come to this crawl space, they can't really see this because it's very dark. I can't even see it. So that's only if the fuse box is over here though. You can put a trap there, and then if it's dismantled, you can check your family focus and see if it's still up or not. And if it's not, that means somebody's upstairs. So on and so forth. Also, sometimes this crawl space will be opened. You can also place a trap right here, since like let's say Cook has a lock right here and Connie pops off the lock, and then she just runs straight out, and then she spams open this crawl space. It's gonna make her get to that lock, that gate, a lot faster. So if you block this off with a trap or something, she's gonna have to take time to come all the way around this way and go to the gate, and she's wasting stamina. So I mean, that goes for every other victim as well. But yeah, that is how I like to trap Family House. Now we're gonna get into the next map. Okay, so now this is Gas Station, the Storm variant. So the reason why I chose this variant is because this map is darker. And so if you place traps mostly like in the house, like the house is pretty dark. So usually on this map, I like to put a trap right here. Especially if the fuse box is in the front room or the back room. See how you can't really see it? Like, if you're coming up this way and you're just like too busy looking, you know, seeing if there's a family member at the door over there, you just kind of crouch around and then you hit a trap. So it like kind of blends in with the floor. So I like to trap this doorway. And then, okay, so the fuse box is here this time. So then I will trap the gap over here. You should always trap this gap as Nancy. Which is, this is the bathroom. And then, okay, I have another trap saved with me. So then you could latch this door and then put another trap over here. Like that. And then you can put your last one over here. That way you completely block off this room. And you won't have to worry too much about the fuse box, unless of course somebody barges this door from the outside, or if a victim dismantles all your traps because they just happen to see them, then that's going to be a problem. And if this crawl space is open, you can also put a trap right here. You could probably move the one from the bathroom gap over there and just place it right here, just to completely block off this room. Just on this variant, I like to trap the house, to be honest. I like to just use all my traps inside over there. Or you can put your traps, you can put one right here on these barrels, or between the barrels. You can also, if this crawl space is open, you can put a trap right here and then put another trap right here as well. So like if I don't know, if Bubba or Johnny is chasing somebody inside this shack and they're gonna try to get away from him, well, they can't because both of their little escape routes are blocked off with your trap. So you can do that as well. Or like here, the valve tank spawns here. So sometimes like Anna or Leland will come over here and fight for the valve and go back and forth through this gap and stab you, whatever. So what you can do just to stop them from just easily like getting through here, if you have a trap, you can always just put one down here and then just like patrol the valve and then patrol the generator gates over here. So again, it's situational. I hardly put traps on this gap, to be honest. But if the fuse box spawns outside, like if it spawns over here, then I will definitely put some traps over here. Like I'll put more of my traps on the outside, and then I'll put my last trap at the bathroom gap. And also don't forget, when you use your ability on a victim, try to memorize where all of the powder stations are. So like in here, there's a powder station here. I can't use it because I'm by myself in a map and I can't spy on anybody. So, but once you do, it'll say, like, it'll let you pick up a powder. You pick it up and then it's going to recharge your ability a lot faster. And then another common powder station is in this shack over here. straight ahead. So this station and then the one in the house are like the most common areas to pick up powder. And they're everywhere. Like, use your family focus, and you can see, like, when you see like the little bowls, the little bowl and then the little powders next to them, those are poison powder stations. So that way, you know, like, if you really need your ability and you need it back quick because you're trying to find that last victim, then go to a powder station, pick one up, and you should have your ability a lot sooner. But yeah, this is how I trap gas station. Okay, so I wasn't gonna include the abandoned mill, but after I thought about it, actually I think Nancy is good on this map also, because yes, it's a bigger map, but there are really good areas to trap on this map for Nancy. And the most common trap is this gap over here. So victims will come up usually from Leatherface lair. They'll run up this way, and then they're gonna try to squeeze through this gap and go through that door and then make their way all the way to the gen side. So you put a trap here, and sometimes they'll see it and they'll either avoid it or they're just gonna bomb squad it. You can trap that. Actually, I saved a trap, so that's perfect. You can also trap this gap over here. I usually don't, but you can put a trap there. But another area that I like to trap here is this gap here. Victims love to freaking loop on this side, like just looping back and forth, and it usually catches people when I put a trap here. So you can put a trap on this gap here. It also really just depends on what side you're gonna watch. So if I'm gonna be more here on the battery side, then I'm gonna try to put my traps closer, like, to me, you know? So then, like, I'll put another trap over here on this gap as well. This is a really good gap to trap, especially if Grandpa spawns right here. And you can also put another trap here on this crawl space. But like I said, it really just depends on what side you're gonna watch, because you don't want to have your traps too far away, and then, like, let's say you're like on the other side of the map over here, someone gets snared and your teammates aren't paying attention and you're too far away from them. Well, you know, by the time you get to them, they're already gone. So if you're gonna be on, like, the battery side, always trap this gap. Trap the gap inside the mill, the first one that I said, and then you could possibly just place another one over here. You just want to, like, lock down whichever area you're standing at. And so if not that, then you can come to the gen side. I know this area is a bigger area to patrol for Nancy, but I've patrolled this area with her before because I placed traps here on these gaps. So for sure, you want to put one right here, especially because I hear the fuse box on my right side. You can trap this gap, and because a lot of the times victims like to just give family members a run through these gaps here, and they can't do that if they're blocked off, so they're gonna have to either well or run somewhere else. So you can trap that gap, and then I also like to trap this one over here too. If they're observant enough, the victims will see this and they're gonna dismantle it, but sometimes they don't pay attention, so it really just depends on the player. But yeah, so you can watch the generator here, and then you can just kind of peek over here and watch the right side. You can also, if you have like another trap on you, you can place that one over here on this gap. Obviously, if a victim comes in through this door and they see, oh, there's a trap here, they're gonna dismantle it. But the good thing is they're either wasting a bone scrap or they're wasting a bomb squad charge. But if it's dismantled, that's gonna let you know, like, hey, somebody's in here, they're trying to probably do the right gen or whatever. But the point is, you're blocking off these gaps here, and so you're giving them one way to come in through. So they're gonna have to either come all the way around this way, and the same thing for this side. They're gonna have to come all the way over here, and you're most likely going to see them. Because these gaps are usually the gaps that they take to kind of sneak around. And so you want to remove that with your traps. Also, another good area, again, situational. Sometimes the valve tank is going to spawn over here on overgrown, where did it spawn? Okay, it's inside the mill. So sometimes the valve tank spawns here where these metal sheets are. You can put a trap right here, and then you can put another trap here. Sometimes the victims will see your trap here, but sometimes they won't because the grass is covering it completely. The only way they're going to see it is if it gives them the prompt to dismantle your trap. But you could get away with it, or you might not. It really just depends. And that's if the valve tank spawns here. If it doesn't, I wouldn't really trap this area or even worry about it. I mean, because there's no objectives over here. It's pointless. You want to stay near the objectives and you want to place your traps where the objectives are. But yeah, that about covers it for the abandoned mill. And the last map is Nancy's own house. So some people don't like to use her on this map. I do, especially down in the garage area. I love to hold down the garage with her traps. So I'll come down. Depending if victims are rushing, I'll collect blood upstairs. But I'd rather place my traps down here first. I will trap this doorway. There is a basement door that leads down the stairs. And it's a very common door that victims like to... If they're rushing, they like to rush from this basement door, to be honest. Like Connie, Leland, or whoever. Like 3 of them will come up. Someone tries to work on this door. And then maybe the other 2, like Connie tries to work on this one. And then Leland protects her, whatever. So I always trap this. They can still dismantle it, but it's gonna, prevent them from just bum rushing in just like that. You know what I mean? So I put a trap there, and then I'll put another trap here at this gap. So that way I can't get looped back and forth. And I didn't save a trap, unfortunately. And then the last one, what I'll do is I'll latch this door here. Sometimes I'll leave this latch and I'll leave it alone. And then other times I will just latch it and then come around this side and barge it down so I can put a trap here. There we go, and then place a trap. And if you have time, and if you have pins and needles, again, if you have time, you can always pick up your traps again and place them down somewhere else so that you can save another trap, but that's only if you have time to do it, which most of the times you don't, because victims are rushing and you just kind of have to start watching the objectives and just forget about the traps. Like, just put them down and just start guarding. So like with me, if I'm playing Nancy, I'll always stay in here. And then my other teammates can stay at the battery, or another one can patrol the middle. And I'll just watch the gate over here, over these boards. You can see the lock right there. And then I'll just stay around here, watch the sliding doors, which this one is the ladder one. So if somebody opens this and they go up the ladder, Nancy can go up. And then watch this door as well. So it's this door, this ladder door, and then this gate over here, which is also another ladder. And also, there is a button here for the garage that you can close. Don't do this. Please don't be this person. If you close this, you might think, okay, I have the garage on lockdown. Nobody's coming in, whatever. Sure. But the problem is that if you leave this closed, you're not watching this gate. And so unless you're on comms with your teammates, and like, let's say, like, I don't know, if you have a hitchhiker, he's watching the battery, and then let's say you have a Leatherface, he can watch the side gate and the generator, and then you hold down the house, and that's fine. If you're on comms though, which actually with Nancy, it is recommended to talk to your teammates and let them know, like, if you use your ability and if, let's say, you see somebody going towards battery, let them know either through your mic or through the chat system. It helps out because obviously her ability is like intel, so you want to be able to help out your teammates and let them know like, hey, I see Leland in this corner, or Sunny is kicking the gen, or whatever. The only reason I don't, I know it's probably hypocritical, but the only reason I don't is just because the chat system does not work on console for some reason, and I don't have time to switch back and forth from the party chat to the game chat to party chat game chat. So that's the only reason why I don't use comms if I'm playing Nancy. But for the most part, I think what makes up for it is that I think I'm a very observant person. So like if I spy on a Sunny player and he's hiding in the grass somewhere, and like let's say that I see Leatherface in his vision, I'll use my family focus and see, okay, where is Leatherface, and then determine the direction of where Sunny is hiding, and then I'll just go get him myself. But I mean, usually you should use comms with Nancy, but obviously don't ever feel forced to use comms. I can understand why people don't feel comfortable getting on the mic and talking to, strangers. But if you're comfortable with it, try to use comms, or at least use the chat system if you can. But if not, I mean, then it is what it is, really. It's not that serious. Okay, enough about that. Also, if you're not going to trap the house, or if you're not going to watch the house if another family member is already watching it, or you guys agreed that someone else is going to watch it and you go somewhere else, you can trap this gap over here, especially if grandpa spawns here, so that victims can't just squeeze by, stab him, squeeze back, whatever. You can trap this, and you can also put another trap here at Johnny's shack. So if a victim gets chased into the shack, they really have nowhere to go besides back out where they came from. And then there's also a hidden gap here. You can also put a barbed wire trap right here, because the grass is covering it, so most likely they won't see it. But this isn't really a common gap that victims go through. It's mostly this gap and then this one over here. So you can do that. You can also trap. Let's just say you have spare traps as well. You can also put a trap over here. Like sometimes the gen will spawn on the other side of these barrels. So you can trap this. And you can also trap this gap over here. But obviously victims can see this easily. So that's why I don't put an anti-trap here. Because they can just dismantle it and it's just a waste of time. It's just a waste of time putting it there in the first place. So yeah, just my go-to trapping on Nancy's house is just always going to be the garage. It's always going to be this doorway. It's always going to be this gap that victims like to go through. And then this is honestly optional. You could leave this latched if you want and just leave it like that. Or if Leatherface breaks it or Johnny breaks it, whatever, you can just put a trap right here. So they still have nowhere to go. And they'll most likely get snared because they're too busy, like probably running away from you or running away from your teammates, and then boom, they get caught. So yeah, this is how I trap Nancy's house. And that will be the end of my Nancy tutorial. I'll be making tutorial videos for the other family members as well in the next few weeks, so stay tuned for those. And I really hope this video was helpful to y'all, and if you have any questions, feel free to leave them down in the comments and I will answer them. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next tutorial.